5.4 is multiplying binomials. When we are multiplying these binomials, we're going to start with the FOIL method. So we kind of introduced this in lesson 5.3 at that very end. FOILing is just first inner out or first outer inner last. You want to take the first term in the first set of parentheses and multiply it into the second set of parentheses. Then take the second term within the first set of parentheses and multiply it into the second set of parentheses. Once you do that, you combine like terms, and then you're good. So if we look at our first set of examples, we're just using the FOIL method to find the products of these. So with example A, we're given 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 4. So we're going to take the 2x and multiply it into the second set of parentheses. We'll do the 2x times 3x first. That gives us 6x squared. Then the 2x times 4 gives us 8x. From there, we take that negative 3 within the first set of parentheses and distribute it into the second set of parentheses. So we do negative 3 times 3x gives us negative 9x. And negative 3 times 4 gives us negative 12. From here, we do have like terms of that 8x and that negative 9x. We combine them to give ourselves the 6x squared minus x minus 12. For example B, we are given 2x cubed plus 5 times 3x cubed minus 5. So again, I'm going to take that 2x cubed and distribute it into that first set of parentheses. So I'm going to do 2x cubed times 2x cubed, which gives us 4x to the 6th power. Then 2x cubed times negative 5 is negative 10x cubed. Then we're going to take the 5 and distribute it into the second set of parentheses. So 5 times 2x cubed is a positive 10x cubed. And 5 times negative 5 is a negative 25. Your like terms here are the negative 10x cubed and the positive 10x cubed. They are opposites of each other, so they cancel out. And the only thing you have left is that 4x to the 6th power minus 25. For example, C, we have m plus w times 2m minus w. So we're going to take m and distribute it in. So m times 2m is 2m squared. And m times negative w is a negative mw. If we do the same with that w in the first set of parentheses, we distribute it in, we multiply it by the 2m, we get a positive 2mw, and then w times negative w is a negative w squared. Your two like terms here are the negative mw and the positive 2mw. So we combine them to give ourselves 2m squared plus mw minus w squared. For example, D, we have a plus b times a minus 3. So again, we're going to take the first a, distribute it in. A times a is a squared. A times negative 3 is negative 3a. Then we'll take the b and distribute it in. So b times a is a positive ab. And b times negative 3 is a negative 3b. So with this one, we do not have any like terms here to combine. So we just leave it with that a squared minus 3a plus ab minus 3b. We are going to be using a special formula for these. You're going to be taking the sum of a square. When you're doing this, it's literally going to be a number or a term plus another term in parentheses, and that parentheses is going to be squared. You're going to use the formula a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Again, you don't have to use this. It is a little bit easier to use this. If you want to just FOIL, you can keep foiling these. If we look at our next part, so if we look at example 2a, we're given x plus 5 squared. So in this case, our a is that first term in the parentheses, which is x. Our b is that 5. We have addition here, so this tells us a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So we plug these values in. So we're going to have x squared plus 2 times x times 5 plus 5 squared. The x squared is just x squared. 2 times x times 5 is 10x, and 5 squared is 25. So x squared plus 10x plus 25 is the trinomial that we're looking for here. For example B, we have 2w plus 3 raised to the second power. So our a in this case is 2w. Our b is 3. We're going to use the formula a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And the reason why there's that plus sign in front of the 2ab is because there's a plus sign in our binomial. So again, we're just going to plug these values in. So 2w squared plus 2 times 2w times 3 plus 3 squared. This is going to leave us with 4w squared plus 2 times 2 times 3 is 12 times w is 12w, and that 3 squared is 9. So this is just 4w squared plus 12w plus 9. For example C, we have 2y to the 4th power plus 3 all raised to the 2nd power. So this one we can do the same thing. Our a is the 2y to the 4th power. Our b is just the 3. We have that plus sign in between those two terms, so we're going to use a squared plus 2ab plus c squared, plus b squared. We plug these values in. So we're going to have 2y to the 4th power squared plus 2 times 2y to the 4th power times 3 plus 3 squared. 2y to the 4th power squared is going to give us 4y to the 8th power. 2 times 2y to the 4th power times 3 gives us 12y to the 4th power, and 3 squared is 9. The next part of this lesson goes over squaring the difference of your sets of numbers inside that binomial. So when we have something like a minus b all raised to the 2nd power, this is just going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So the only thing that's changing with the formula that we just used with that plus a plus b squared is that minus in between a and b in that binomial squared, and that minus in front of the 2 times a times b. So if we look at example 3, we're squaring each difference. For a, we have x minus 6 squared. So in this case, our a is x. Our b is just the 6. The sign that's there tells us which formula to use. So because there's a negative there, we're going to use a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So we're going to plug these values in. We're going to have x squared minus 2 times x times 6 plus 6 squared. So if we simplify this, that x squared is x squared. Negative 2 times x times 6 is negative 12x, and 6 squared is a positive 36. So that's just the x squared minus 12x plus 36 for our answer. For b, we have 3w minus 5y squared. So in this case, our a is the 3w, our b is the 5y. Because there's that negative there, we're going to use a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So we plug in these values. It's going to be 3w squared minus 2 times 3w times 5y plus 5y squared. So if we simplify that, 3w squared is 9w squared. The negative 2 times 3w times 5y gives us 6w times 5y, which is negative 30 wy. And then 5y squared gives us 25y squared. So 9w squared minus 30wy plus 25y squared. For example C, we have negative 4 minus st squared. So our a in this case is negative 4. Our b is st. So with this, we're actually going to keep the sign off of this negative 4 and just use the 4 for it. So we are going to use a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So when we do this, actually, hold on. So I'm going to think about this. I'm going to do this a little differently because there is two negatives. I want you to see what happens with this, to see whether or not we should use that negative with that 4. So if we did negative 4 minus st times negative 4 minus st, let's see what happens. That negative 4 times negative 4 is a 16. Negative 4 times the st is a positive 4st. And the negative st times the negative 4 is a positive 4st. And then this becomes a positive s squared t squared. So this negative is going to stay with the a. So that way it turns that negative 2 into a positive 2 in the middle of that trinomial there. So if we were to plug these in, we would have that negative 4 squared minus 2 times negative 4 times st plus st squared. So ultimately this entire thing is going to give us 16 plus 8st plus s squared t squared. For example D, we have 3 minus 5a cubed all squared. So in this case our a is 3. Our b is 5a cubed. We have a negative there, so we're going to use a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So plug these values in. It's going to be 3 squared minus 2 times 3 times 5a cubed plus 5a cubed squared. So the 3 squared is 9. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 times 5a cubed is negative 30a cubed. And then you have that 5a cubed squared. So that's going to give us a positive 25a to the 6th power. So it's just that 9 minus 30a cubed plus 25a to the 6th power. Our next part here, we are going to be going over finding the product of a sum and a difference. So when you have the same term, the same first term in 2 sets of parentheses and the same second term in 2 sets of parentheses, and they're differed by the sign in between them, we would typically see something squared minus something squared. So we got to look at the binomial that's given to us, or we got to look at the 2 sets of parentheses and see what the first term is, what the second term is, and go from there. If we look at example 4, we're just finding the products of these. For a, we have x plus 3 times x minus 3. We see that our a term is the same in both of these. So a is x. Our b term is the same in both. We are separated, or not separated, but we have opposite signs here. We have a positive and we have a negative. So we're just going to use a squared minus b squared. So we're going to plug these values in. We have x squared minus 3 squared. So this is going to give us x squared minus 9. Again, you could just FOIL these and get the same exact answer once you combine like terms. It's totally up to you which way you decide to do these. For example, B, we have a cubed plus 8 times a cubed minus 8. So again, our first term in both sets of the parentheses is our a, which is a cubed. Our second term in each set of parentheses is our b, which is 8. We have different signs there, so we're going to use a squared minus b squared. So this is going to give us a cubed raised to the second power minus 8 raised to the second power. Remember, when you have a power raised to a power, you multiply those powers. So that's just a to the 6th power minus 64. For example C, we have 3x squared minus y cubed times 3x squared plus y cubed. So in this case, my A is going to be the 3x squared, and the B is going to be that y cubed. So again, we'll use a squared minus b squared. So a is the 3x squared. We raise that to the second power, minus b, which is y cubed. We raise that to the second power. So 3x squared raised to the second power gives us 9x to the 4th power. And y cubed raised to the second power is y to the 6th power. So that's just 9x to the 4th minus y to the 6th. For our next part, we're dealing with special products. Now, with these, we're going to be doing this a little differently. So I may, actually, we're going to skip over this part. When we work with special products with these polynomials, you want to keep in mind all of your rules or all of those formulas, so to call, that we've gone over so far. So you want to think, hold on. So I'll do it over here. You want to think those formulas that we've gone over so far. You have a binomial that has addition that's squared. When you see that a plus b squared, we're going to use the formula a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. Then you have the difference binomial. So if you have a minus b squared, we can use a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. Then you also have the difference. So a plus b and a minus b multiplied together. When you see this, you're going to have that a squared minus b squared. So you want to keep these in mind while you're going over these special products. So if we look at example 5a, we're given x plus y plus 3 times x plus y minus 3. You see here that within both of these brackets, this x plus y is the same, and then this 3 is the same. The only difference is the sign between them. So it's like a plus b times a minus b. So we would use that formula, that's a squared minus b squared. So identify your a and your b. Our a is the x plus y. Our b is the 3. So if we plug these values into that a squared minus b squared, we're just going to have x plus y squared minus 3 squared. Now that x plus y squared is also that a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So our a from that one is the x, and our b is the y. So we'll use x squared plus 2 times x times y plus y squared minus 9, because 3 squared is 9. So from here, we're just going to have x squared plus 2xy plus y squared minus 9. So again, you want to keep in mind those rules that we've gone over to make your life a little bit easier while you're finding these special products. For example B, we have m minus n plus 5 squared. So this, we can see that we have an a, we have a b, and we have addition there, so that we can use a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So if we identify our a, that's that m minus n. If we identify that b, that's our 5. So if we plug these values in, we're going to have m minus n squared plus 2 times m minus n times 5 plus 5 squared. that m minus n squared, we can use a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So this is just going to give us an a of m and b of n. So a squared is going to be m squared minus 2 times a, which is m, times b, which is n, plus n squared, plus 2 times 5 gives us 10 times m minus n, plus 5 squared is 25. So if we just keep simplifying this, that m squared is m squared. The 2 times m times n is going to give us a negative 2mn. The n squared is n squared. 10 times m minus n, we distribute the 10 in there. So we get plus 10m minus 10n, and then we drop down that plus 25. So with example 6, we're just expanding each of the binomials that we see here. With these, your power is telling you how many times you multiply that binomial by itself. So like for example A, we have x plus 2 cubed. You have x plus 2 times x plus 2 times x plus 2. We can just FOIL and keep foiling, or we know that that x plus 2 times x plus 2 is going to give us that x squared plus 2 times x times 2 plus 2 squared. And I'm just getting this because my a and my b are the same and they're both addition. So with that, I use that formula a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to have x plus 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. And now I'm just going to distribute in. So I'm going to first do that x times x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then I'll do that 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Again, it makes my life a little easier when I do this vertically. So if I distribute that x in, I have x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. If I distribute the 2 in, I get 2x squared. That's going to go underneath the 4x squared. 2 times 4x is 8x. That goes underneath the 4x. And 2 times 4 is 8. So we'll just add all of this together. The x cubed drops down. The 4x squared plus 2x squared is 6x squared. 4x plus 8x is 12x. And that 8 drops down. So this is just x cubed plus 6x squared plus 12x plus 8. For example B, we're given a minus 4 raised to the 4th power. So again, this is just a minus 4 times a minus 4 times a minus 4 times a minus 4. We know that this a minus 4 times a minus 4 is going to be using that a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So we are just going to do a squared minus 2 times a times 4 is negative 8a plus b squared is 4 squared, so that's 16. Remember, we're doing this twice since there are 4 sets of parentheses here. So both those a minus 4 times a minus 4 is that a squared minus 8a plus 16. From here, we can just distribute. So we're going to take the a squared and distribute in to a squared minus 8a plus 16. Then we'll take that minus 8a, distribute into the a squared minus 8a plus 16, and then do the 16 times a squared minus 8a plus 16. So I'm going to, again, do this vertically. So I distribute in that a squared. I'm going to have a to the 4th power. That a squared minus 8a is negative 8a cubed. a squared times 16 is 16a squared. From here, we'll move into distributing that negative 8a into that a squared minus 8a plus 16. So negative 8a times a squared is a negative 8a cubed. Negative 8a times negative 8a is a positive 64a squared. And negative 8a times 16 gives us a negative 128 a. Next, I distribute that 16 in. So 16 times a squared is 16a squared. The 16 times negative 8a is negative 128a. And 16 times 16 gives us 256. So from here, we're just going to add all of this. That a to the fourth power drops down. The negative 8a cubed minus 8a cubed is negative 16a cubed. The 16a squared plus 64a squared plus 16a squared gives us 96a squared. And that negative 128a minus 128a is a negative 256a. And then lastly, we bring down that 256. So we have our answer of the a to the fourth power minus 16a cubed plus 96a squared minus 256a plus 256.